Welcome to an exploration of the work of Emily Dickinson. Born in 1830, Emily Dickinson grew up in Amherst, Massachusetts. Though she attended a school for girls, she spent much of her adult life at home, in a type of willful isolation from the outside world. Her brother, after law school, lived in the house next door, and her sister, like Emily, remained at home for much of her life. These two siblings comprised much of Dickinson's social world, both as a girl and also as a woman. Dickinson was a great admirer of books. She actively corresponded with friends, often enclosing her own poems. Her work was not widely published during her lifetime. Much of her poetry was discovered for the first time after her death in 1886, located in 40 hand-sewn volumes, over 1,800 poems in all. Her first book was published posthumously in 1890. Her work, like that of other Romantic writers, sought to explore the emotional tonalities of extreme emotion. For Dickinson, these extremities were often touched on romantic yearning, though even now critics are unsure who was the object of her affection. She also worked with slant or half-rhyme and idiosyncratic punctuation and capitalization. Visitors to her house were infrequent, though many appear to have left a significant impact on her. She is now regarded as one of the two most important poetic voices in America in the mid-1800s, with the other being Walt Whitman. In this lecture file, I'll discuss two poems, I Cannot Live With You and I Felt a Funeral in My Brain. Both poems move the speaker, and hopefully readers, away from common experience and towards extremes or what might be called romantic agony. I Cannot Live With You explores the emotional breadth of despair and longing as sustaining forces, while I Felt a Funeral in My Brain investigates the wonders and terror of madness as a possible escape from rational existence.
I cannot live with you. It would be life, and life is over there behind the shelf the sexton keeps the key to.
Let's stop there, after the first stanza. I should probably point out that this poem is not a conventional love poem. It's not called I Cannot Live Without You. It's called I Cannot Live With You. And it's a poem in 3 parts in which the speaker explores why she cannot be with her beloved. In the first stanza, she points out the underlying problem. Her town is controlled by religious conventions of the church. I cannot live with you. It would be life, and life is over there behind the shelf the sexton keeps the key to. The sexton is a person who takes care of the church grounds and church buildings. The speaker begins this poem with an extended metaphor. She explains that the residents of this town are like pieces of china that the church, or rather the sexton, displays in its cabinet. That is, each piece of china must go exactly where the church says it should. Even here, we can sense that there is some underlying religious explanation as to why the speaker and her beloved cannot be together.
The sexton keeps the key to, putting up our life, his porcelain, like a cup discarded of the housewife, quaint or broke. A newer Sèvres pleases, old ones crack.
The second and third stanzas continue this extended metaphor, a description of the china that is arranged in the church display case. But there is the suggestion, perhaps, that the person that interests the speaker is in a troubled marriage, and, like the cup, has been to some extent discarded by the housewife. The poem also points out that new Sèvres, that's a porcelain from Paris, please the church, but there are still damaged or cracked items in the display case as well. Likely the speaker and her beloved are among the well-used and worn, perhaps cracked items in that case. But here ends the first part of the poem. The explanation of why the speaker and her beloved can't be together in this world, because the church forbids it. It seems that the beloved comes from a troubled marriage, but later there is also the suggestion that the beloved may serve the church in some official or semi-official capacity. From here, the poem makes wild leaps. If the two can't be together in this town, in this life, Maybe the speaker wonders that they might be together in the eternal moment of death through an arranged suicide pact.
I could not die with you, for one must wait to shut the other's gaze down. You could not, and could I stand by and see you freeze without my rite of frost, death's privilege?
Let me go through that again, line by line. I could not die with you, for one must wait to shut the other's gaze down. You could not. In this stanza, the speaker seems to be saying that this suicide pact would not be effective because one must help the other to die first. She says here, you could not do this. That's implied. You could not kill me. You could not poison me. You could not administer the knife. And then the speaker turns the beam of interrogation onto herself when she says, and I? Could I stand by and see you freeze without my rite of frost, death's privilege? She seems to be saying, could I do this as well? Could I administer the knife, the poison, whatever the mechanism of death is? Could I do this and see you freeze and see you die without my rite of frost if I was not already dying, death's privilege? And here ends part 2, the contemplation of maybe, through some sort of romantic longing, that the two could arrange some feeling of eternity through a suicide pact in which they die together. It doesn't seem that either of them are capable of this. The third part of the poem explores the possibility of the afterlife. Maybe there, perhaps, the two people could be together and happy.
Nor could I rise with you, because your face would put out Jesus, that new grace glow plain and foreign on my homesick eye, except that you than he shone closer by. They'd judge us. How? For you served heaven, you know, or sought to. I could not, because you saturated sight, and I had no more eyes for sordid excellence's paradise.
In this first imagining of the afterlife, the speaker pictures a Christian heaven that has accepted both herself and her beloved, but there are problems. The speaker is wholly interested in her beloved, not Jesus, that new grace, which upsets the heavenly order. She believes that the other residents of heaven would judge them because her beloved tried to serve heaven, though she herself wasn't among the true believers. And in this we see the suggestion that the beloved is, to some extent, officially involved in serving the church. So if the question is, will the speaker and her beloved find peace and unity in heaven? The answer offered by the poem is no. But what if one of these two people went to heaven and the other went someplace with a little more warmth?
And were you lost, I would be, though my name rang loudest on the heavenly fame. And were you saved, and I condemned to be where you were not, that self were hell to me.
The poem examines both possibilities. If the speaker rose to heaven while the beloved was lost, even if the speaker was celebrated in the afterlife, she would feel overcome by loss to be separated from her beloved. And if she were lost, that is, if she were sent down to hell, the tortures of hell couldn't be worse than the tortures of eternal separation. So what does that leave her with? It leaves her with this.
So we must meet apart, you there, I here, with just the door ajar that oceans are, and prayer, and that white sustenance, despair.
Before I get into this poem's concluding observations, I want to point out how this poem works as a visual document. Novels and short stories don't really have a tradition of being both a literary and visual expression of art, but poems do. Poems are often laid out so their visual presentation adds to their meaning. This may be achieved by line breaks that complicate meaning, or by grouping or excluding ideas into or out of stanzas. It may also be accomplished by punctuation. In Dickinson's handwritten notebooks discovered after her death, she used long dashes, often to isolate one set of words from another, not merely to mark pauses. In this poem, such as in the final stanza, dashes are used to separate the word you from the word I. I'll read one line with punctuation. You there, dash, I, dash, here. In this, the intellectual materials of the poem focus on separation, but also the visual punctuation of the poem is focused on separation as well. The dashes separate the you from the I. So we've moved through the third possibility, that third part, the failed hope of the afterlife. What now is left for the speaker? One would think not much, but that wouldn't be quite right. So we must meet apart. You there, I here, with just the door ajar, that oceans are, and prayer, and that white sustenance, despair. So what is left for the speaker? Well, separation and longing, and the yearning that often accompanies unrequited love, that type of hopeless desire. But she doesn't think of it in only dark terms. Remember, for the Romantics, the goal is to move out of the center point, to move away from common emotions. That doesn't just mean positive experiences, it doesn't mean elation. It also means types of agony. Agony provides a type of sustenance in this poem because agony is feeling, and feeling in strength reminds us that we are alive. And so this poem ends by concluding that what this gives her, the speaker, is that white sustenance, something good called despair. I felt a funeral in my brain. There are many ways to read this poem, as an expression of transformation, as an exploration of depression. For our class, however, I'd like to read it as a critique of rationality. In the mid-1800s, the Romantics saw themselves as correcting the ideals of the Enlightenment, which placed a premium on rationality, that is, on the function of the brain. In this poem, the speaker addresses a moment of deep personal change, as something in or about her is dying. It's a rhythmic poem in which lines repeat stresses and words. The mourners will keep treading, the drum will keep beating. The sounds in the poem are regular, predictable, almost mechanical, as though the noise of the rational world is finally distressing the speaker beyond that which she is able to bear. In fact, she tells us her mind, that great instrument of the Enlightenment, is going numb. I should also point out that the word sense is capitalized, suggesting that we might pay particular attention to it in the poem, with sense perhaps meaning common sense or even rationality. In this poem, sense and reason seem to be those elements that are breaking. Let's listen to the poem, then I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end.
I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro kept treading, till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated, a service like a drum kept beating, till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creak across my soul with those same boots of lead again. Then space began to toll as all the heavens were a bell. And being but an ear and eye and silence, some strange race wrecked solitary here. and then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down, and hit a world at every plunge, and finished knowing. Then
the turning point for me is the moment when the plank in reason breaks. The poem creates an image in which reason is a floor that supports us. We live for better or worse because reason creates a foundation at our feet. But for the speaker, whose brain has gone numb, she finds that the floor is broken to the point that she can fall down beneath the reach of reason. In ways, this is a terrifying fall, to essentially lose the reliable logic of one's mind. But for the speaker of the poem, it's also a compelling opportunity. If rationality is viewed as that which damages us, the element that diminishes the role of imagination, spirituality, and emotion, then what will life be like once reason is left behind? In a way, at the end of the poem, it signals a descent into madness, but it also signals possibilities. How then will the speaker define her life without the crutch of reason? At the end of the poem, we are left inside the rational world, unable to follow the speaker, unable to know or perhaps to feel what she encounters as she moves into a realm where the mind has finally died. And with that, I'll end our short discussion on Emily Dickinson. I look forward to seeing you all when I return.